Good morning, students. This is Professor Jintae Kim again. Well, today I'm gonna talk about the great schism between Jews and Christianity further because another student sent me an email inquiry. And he made an interesting suggestion concerning the same issue. So I'm sharing with you guys what I have interacted with that student. Okay, let me copy what he asked first. Quote, Professor Kim, I remember hearing a sermon from Tim Keller on this. He suggested that it was an ancient practice to flee to a walled city when an area was being sacked, as Jerusalem was before the temple's fall. However, Mark chapter 13, verse 14 says, But when you see the abomination of desolation standing where he ought not to be, parenthesis, let the reader understand, parenthesis, then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Therefore, most of the Jewish people were killed defending the temple against the Roman attack, while the new Christians who were also Jewish heeded Jesus' warning and ran for the mountains to safety. Do you think this event had anything to do with the parting of the ways? Well, unquote. You know, it was the 4th century church historian Eusebius of Caesarea who told of the earliest Christians' escape to Pella in present-day Jordan from Jerusalem just before the latter city was destroyed by the Romans in AD 70. Church History, Book 3, Chapter 11 by Eusebius. But whether it really happened is still debated among scholars. However, the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple was a major catalyst that led to the great schism between the Jews and Christians. Well, I have read articles and even books. And Biblical Archaeology Review was one of the, not really journal, it's a magazine. Because people were very interested in this type of a story. So they dug, perhaps the ancient site of Pella and trying to find some evidence of a Christian church there in the first century. But archaeology sometimes helps, but usually not much. So evidence is not conclusive, and in fact, it's a bit negative. Well, that's just my opinion about this whole thing about Pella. Whether Eusebius of Caesarea was correct, or church fathers just recorded folk tales. When I went to Jerusalem, in fact, I did 2 trips there and many years ago when I was younger. No beard, no white hair. Well, the guide was a Palestinian Christian. He gave us all kind of interesting stories about all these biblical cities and these things. Sometimes, tourists take his stories as if they were fact. Usually, the stories shared by those people are, stories, told among the local people. So there are not much scientific evidence to prove their stories are correct. Okay, so let me copy Craig Evans' article, which I've talked about. Let me read. Quote, a major catalyst that led to the partings of the ways was the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple in AD 70, and the later Bar Kokhba defeat AD 135, which resulted in the loss of Jerusalem as a Jewish city and the loss of Israel as a state. Prior to the destruction of Jerusalem, the temple remained important to Christian Jews. We see this in the book of Acts especially. The destruction of the temple proved to be a significant loss of common ground. The Bar Kokhba War also intensified hostilities between Christian and non-Christian Jews. According to patristic sources, hear this with a grain of doubt, okay? According to patristic sources, Christians were persecuted by Simon ben Kosiba, who evidently had been dubbed Bar Kokhba, meaning in Aramaic, the son of a star. Justin Martyr, a contemporary of Simon, relates that Jews count us foes and enemies, and like yourselves, they kill and punish us whether they have the power, as you can well believe. For in the Jewish war, which lately raged, Bar Kokhba, the leader of the revolt of the Jews, gave orders that Christians alone should be led away to cruel punishments unless they should deny Jesus as the Christ and blaspheme. Eusebius, possibly dependent on Justin, similarly stated that Kokhba, prince of the Jewish sect, killed the Christians with all kind of persecution when they refused to help him against the Roman troops. Unquote. All right, guys. As I said in last video lecture, if you guys interested in this matter further, please read the article by Craig A. Evans, Christianity and Judaism, Partings of the Ways, in the Dictionary of the Later New Testament and its developments. Page 165, that's what I used in my lecture today. Well, again, let me summarize. about the Tim Keller's suggestion, it is based upon Eusebius' account, which many scholars doubt. But you never know, okay? So if someone asks you about these Christians fleeing to the Pella, just tell them it is probable, it is possible that Christians may have fled to the city of Pella, but there is no concrete objective evidence to support that argument. Well, that's your food for the thought today. May God bless you richly today again.